I work with a lot of driven, determined, courageous women who are doing the do. They are showing up for their dreams and goals daily and they're putting in that action. But similar to where I was, they're not seeing the results come from that. So that's the biggest aspect that I work with when they come into my world is the mindset part of that, because they've got the strategy. They've got the work ethic, they've got the determination, but why are we not creating results and getting the money and the clients and all of the things? And it always comes back to your subconscious program.
This is Inspired Founders, a podcast that helps you find your true north in business and beyond. I'm Priscilla Skippington, a soul-led entrepreneur passionate about sharing the wisdom of world-leading business minds who have walked the path before us. From their toughest challenges to their greatest triumphs, we explore the stories that have shaped their journey and defined their future. Together, we discover the resilience and redemption it truly takes to achieve success, make a lasting impact on the world, and live a life that is truly fulfilling.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Inspired Founders with me, Priscilla Skippington, and my beautiful guest here today, Jessica Martin.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm so excited and love the studio, by the way. It's beautiful behind the scenes.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot because we whipped it out in literally 7 days. I don't know how we did it, so that means a lot. So thank you.
Well, we've nailed it.
So on Inspired Founders, I really love to hear the story behind the person of the brand. And because most entrepreneurs have a story. It's not just we decide to have a business and then, away we go and we have all the success. It's usually driven from something much deeper. And so I'd love to hear, who was Jess before the business? What were you doing? What happened to spark it all?
I love that question when someone says, what's your business journey been like? Because I'm like, it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to be in business. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Growing up, I always wanted to be a lawyer, and I don't actually know where that dream came from. I want to say it started with Legally Blonde, which is outrageous because that is not a good demonstration.
I can kind of see it. A little bit.
But yeah, it was a seed that was planted somewhere along the line, and my entire life I spoke about wanting to be a lawyer. I got really good grades at school. I got into university straight out of school, topped the cohort in my at law school, landed a dream job straight out of uni. I was on the path to becoming quite a successful lawyer. And then I was 2 years, or not even, 18 months into my career, and I just had a moment and I was like, this is not what I want to do. A big thing for me was feeling as though my time had just been stripped away. I grew up in Canberra and had just moved to the Gold Coast, and I'm a big family person. So feeling like I couldn't just jump on a plane and go home whenever I wanted just did not sit well with me. And obviously having 4 weeks of annual leave, you can't travel. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Thankfully, it wasn't a scary moment to have. A lot of people ask, what was that realization like for you? Planning a career, going into $70,000 worth of debt to get a law degree and then decide you don't want to have it. But one thing that I do pride myself on is I've always been quite curious. So I was like, okay, interesting that this is no longer what I want. I wonder what's next for me.
Yeah.
So I just remained open and curious and kind of followed the breadcrumbs. I ended up in network marketing. I grew that for about 2.5 years. And yeah, there were moments in there where I was like, this is it for me, network marketing.
I had a network marketing business for 4.5 years.
I feel like everyone starts there. We were having that conversation.
You learned some really great things from being in network marketing, honestly.
I would not be here if it wasn't for that network marketing business. So I do have a lot to thank for that. Actually, I have everything to thank for that because I grew that business for 2.5 years and poured my heart and soul into that business. And I was still working full-time as a lawyer then. So I would come home after work until 11, work the weekends. I worked so hard, but it never really took off. Financially, I had nothing to show for it. Every year I'd set the goal to be full-time in that business and it was so far out of reach. Yeah. So after about 2.5 years of grinding and hustling with not much to show, I just took a step back and just ask the question of what in me is stopping this growth? Because it's definitely not from lack of trying. There's something happening within me. And then I was introduced to the world of personal development and Dr. Joe Dispenza and the subconscious mind. And I was learning about exactly why I wasn't making money. And then it led me to start my podcast, Abundant and Aligned. And it resonated with so many women who were on that similar journey. Yeah. And then I started my brand. And now here we are with online courses and events and podcasts. And yeah, the journey has led me here. It's been a whirlwind, but so grateful for all of it.
Amazing, amazing. And so, talking about the transition between going from network marketing, working full time at the same time, to going into your own business, like what was that transition phase? How long did it take you to go, actually, I'm onto something here with my own brand?
Yeah. I want to say for the last year of network marketing, I started to feel unsettled. They were bringing in different things within the company that I was with, which was Arbonne, in terms of what you could say online and how you could talk about the product. And I was like, wait a second, this doesn't feel like my business anymore. And so I started to, I guess, question that model a little bit. And then, as I mentioned, learning more about the personal development side of things. Actually, I invested in a program, and she was an online coach, and I really just resonated with her work, and I saw something in that I could do. And so that's kind of where that all started, actually. So I was like going through my own personal development journey, but then worked with this online coach, and I was like, I could do this. And this seems really cool and fun for me. So yeah, it kind of followed from there. And then once I had that realization, about 2 months later, I had decided I will leave network marketing completely. And then I built this brand up for the next year before I was full-time.
Amazing. Congratulations. Because really, that is quite a short journey. You know, like I'd been in business probably 5 or so years before I really had that moment where this isn't really working out the way that I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And to the outside world, it looked like I had a lot of success, or I'd done a lot of things, created a lot of things, but financially,
Not much.
I had nothing to show for it. So really great that you actually had that early on, and you were curious and had those questions with yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing you can do really as an entrepreneur, is be curious always and be asking the question, like, why am I settling for this? Why am I settling for
Yeah,
this?
100%. Or like, why is this not feeling as good as I thought it was going to feel? And I feel like there's probably a lot of women in business, or at some points in their journey, where they're probably feeling like this is a little bit off, but they just push through that anyway because it's looked as a failure if they give up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I feel like we should be pivoting probably sooner than what we do, and that's never a failure. It's what's what's next for you.
Yeah, it's the evolution. Yeah. So working now a lot with women and running your programs, what is the one thing that you see the most, like the most common issue that you find with, not issue, but thing that needs to be worked on with women in business?
I work with a lot of driven, determined, courageous women who are doing the do. They are showing up for their dreams and goals daily, and they're putting in that action. But similar to where I was, they're not seeing the results come from that. So that's the biggest aspect that I work with when they come into my world, is the mindset part of that, because they've got the strategy. They've got the work ethic, they've got the determination, but why are we not creating results and getting the money and the clients and all of the things? And it always comes back to your subconscious program. So whatever that programming is from your early years of life is what you're running from. So you can never outwork that subconscious program. So you could be the hardest worker in the room, but if you have a limiting subconscious program around money, success, what it looks like to make money, that's always going to prevail over anything that you're physically doing. So that's the bulk of my work with them.
Yeah, yeah. And I've found that in my own career as well. So when you work with these women, what's one of these programming issues that tend to come up the most? Like, if you could give advice to anyone listening around flags that are coming up and that they're seeing and maybe not seeing as something that they need to be working on.
The biggest one is usually they're trying to do something that they haven't been programmed to do, in the way of their parents had normal jobs. Like, mum was in the corporate world, dad was a tradie, or in my case, my dad was a butcher. He owned his own business, but it was a butcher shop. So that trade your time for money, go to a shop front to make money. And my mum was a hairdresser up until she had us kids, and then she was a mum. So in my situation, I had never seen a female in my family start a business, and even more so an online business where you are helping women better their life. Like, that just was not shown to me. So that's usually the very first thing I take a look at is, okay, what are you trying to do? And is it different to what you saw your parents do? And even deeper, generations before you. And usually they're the first one trying to do what they're doing. And I mean, we are in a generation where we're the first ones making an income online. So we need to think about it more simply. Like, we are doing this for the first time ever. We don't have that hardwire to make money passively while we're sitting in Italy during Euro summer. Like, it has not been shown to us. So the moment we have that realization of, like, I'm the first one doing this, this is so unfamiliar for me, it does start to click into place, because you're like, I am on this path that no one has ever walked before.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that so much. And it's similar to the women I work with. You know, we're all out, we're the change makers.
Yeah.
You know, we're the people drawing a line in the sand going, we're not doing this any longer like my mother or my grandmother. Or, you know, we're changing the trajectory
Yeah.
of our lives and the community around us. So I love that. And I love that you work with those women because they're powerhouses.
Oh my God, yeah. And that's why I love working with them, because I'm like, you guys have so much potential. And the cool thing about the subconscious is it can be changed. So you're not stuck with that program. And neuroplasticity is that we can change it pretty quick. Once you know the right modalities and you're doing the exercises consistently, when that subconscious mind matches up with those conscious goals, you are a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And I see it in my world all the time. Like, in quotes, average women doing extraordinary things.
Yeah. Because we're all the same at the end of the day, right? It's just the knowledge that we have and the work that we're willing to do in order to strip back the layers to really uncover ourselves. Yeah.
And that's usually the hardest part to growing a business. You know, we look at showing up on social online as hard, or finding clients as hard. But like, no, the hardest part is unlearning everything that you've learned in the insert, however, like number of years, like 30 years in my case, 30 years of unlearning. That's the hardest part to business.
Yeah.
But again, it can be done. And so I'm not here to say like, you guys are screwed and you're stuck. Like,
Don't do
you can change.
business.
But I think it's recognizing like that's probably going to be your biggest battle. But that excites me because that's within you. That's totally within your control. And a battle within yourself is the best battle that you want, because you've got you're sitting in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. So we were talking just before we got on the podcast about you've gone in now into the event space and now you're really excited to continue that. So talk a little bit about your event, where that came from, why you wanted to do that, and what you're looking forward to now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, loved my event. I don't know why it's taken me so long to do an event. That came from recognizing that I had limits within the online space with the type of work I do with my clients. So as I mentioned, it's a lot of subconscious reprogramming work. So a lot of going back to your childhood, to the first moments you experienced a situation that made you feel like you were unworthy, for example, what actually happened there. It's really like peeling back those layers. And then once we've got that root cause in front of us, we then need to get it out of our energetic field and out of our body. So it's a lot of somatic therapy and things like that. And as I was saying to you before, one of the exercises I do is an anger release session where we identify a block within ourselves and we literally use our body to get it out of ourselves. So screaming, kicking, punching a pillow, like getting it all out. And I was doing these exercises online, but I was feeling like it was not hitting home as much as I knew it could.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what inspired the event. I was like, I need to do this in person with you guys just so I can be there with you and go, let it out. And so, yeah, that kind of what inspired it. It was a one-day immersion where we had a workshop in the morning and then we did this healing in the afternoon. And I am so hooked on just how powerful that day was. So definitely looking at doing more events next year. I have clients over in the States, so I want to get over there and do one at least once a year over there. So much potential there. I'm really excited, yeah.
Yeah, that is exciting, and we need to chat off air about that.
Yes. We can do that.
By getting to know each other on the podcast. I love that. So what's now? What's next for you? I know you're saying you want to take things to the US. Like, what are you looking? Because you're still so young in business. Like, what's next for you?
I know. It's really exciting to think. Like, isn't it funny when you're in business, you feel like you've been doing this for so long. I'm like, why am I not like a billionaire by now? Seriously. But yeah, it's only been like really like a good 5 years of my life since even deciding I wanted to do business. So that's not long at all.
No.
So it's really easy to assume that you should be way further along than what you are. So yeah, it's really exciting to think about what is next. I want to take this brand as big as I possibly can, the personal development brand that it is. To be honest, I'm kind of in this weird spot at the moment in terms of who I'm actually serving. Like, do I want to really just work with women in business and just make that my clientele and develop everything for women in business, or do I still love the idea of helping women who aren't necessarily in business? So I am still navigating that. Most of my clients are in business, and so obviously the messaging that I'm putting out is landing with that. So I guess that's a belief that I'm still working through in terms of, am I niching down too much by running with the women in business? But I do love working with women in business because my biggest value is freedom, and there's a sense of freedom you can create only in business. You know, when you go into a corporate job and I'm sitting here saying, have a beautiful morning routine and take time out throughout the day, and you literally can't do that in your job.
Yeah.
it's difficult in that respect. So I guess like really niching that down a little bit further, but yeah, just taking this brand as far as we possibly can. I really just want to inspire women to live a life far from average. Never, ever, ever settle.
Yeah.
You know, financial overflow, like more than enough. Having all of this beautiful time freedom, making your life every day just feel so incredible. And unfortunately, that's not the programming that we have.
No.
And my daddy's actually up here at the moment for my partner's bucks. And we had dinner with him last night. And just the conversation that I was having with him, I was like, we are just two different people here. And we are told like you've got to pick and choose. You can't have everything. You've got to be smart with your money. There's a lot of irresponsible decisions that can be made, and everything's so limited and hard. And so that's the programming for a lot of us. And I'm just here to show women that it's all a lie.
Yeah.
Like our potential is unlimited if you give yourself permission to go for it. And yeah, I just see like a world of women who are like multi-millionaires with all the time in the world, traveling, just having the best life ever.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly my message. I'm here to inspire.
Yeah.
Obviously, the next generation of entrepreneurs coming through, that you can do anything, create anything you want. There's actually no cap. There's no limit on your imagination or your potential in this world. I truly don't believe there is any limit.
Yeah, no. And that's
And you can defy all odds.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about that, before we got on air as well, we spoke about the illogical decision to jump in full time, and it probably wasn't the right time. Can you talk through that a little bit? Because I know there's a lot of women who still are in jobs and they do businesses on the side, and it's like, when is the right time to make the move?
Yeah. Yeah.
My belief is there's never the right time.
About to say, there is no right time. Well, yeah. So this brand was, say, 12 months old when I had set the goal that I would leave in the April. So April 2023 and 2022. And I had set the goal, and client-wise, it was not feeling like it was going to happen. I was doing one-on-one clients at that stage, so I worked out that I needed X amount of clients in order to match my salary, weekly salary as a lawyer. And so I had set that goal, but it wasn't really looking like it was happening. But I was like, no, you know what? April is the date, and I just have to trust that these clients are going to drop in. My partner, and I feel like we all share this usually, he's very logical, and he's like, you cannot quit. You cannot put your resignation in until you have those clients in the door, until you have money in the bank, blah, 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 blah. I had a bit of money in the bank, so I did have that security, but like that was only going to, if I didn't make any money after that point, that was only going to last me 2 months. So that's not really a lot, right? So I ended up lying to him. I told him that I had my clients full and that I was good to go. And I walked in and resigned, and I had 4 weeks to figure this shit out. 4 weeks to find these clients and make sure I had enough money to survive after the 4-week resignation period. But you know what? I was not scared, and I did not doubt it one bit. And I love that version of me. Like, of course, you have these tiny moments of like, oh shit, like what have I just done? When I walked out of that office and had resigned and had given myself 4 weeks to figure this out. Of course, there's little moments, but most of the time I just had so much trust. I was like, this is so strong within me right now. I have to trust that it's meant to work out for me. And yeah, sure, on paper it's not looking like it's going to, but manifestation is not logical. And the more you trust, the more magic actually happens. So within that 4-week period, those clients dropped in. And by the time I actually had my last day, my income had 5x'd, and I was making triple what I was making as a lawyer in the weekly period.
It's the decision, right?
Yeah.
It's the power of decision and that internal power that you spoke about. Like you
Yeah.
love that version of you.
Yeah.
When you can really tap into that deep, soft, gracious power that us females have,
Yeah.
we become unstoppable. We
Yeah.
become magnets, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk through, just for some practical tips, talk through what you did in those 4 weeks. Like was it hustling? Did it really happen really quite organically? Like what happened?
So no hustling, because obviously if I was hustling, it meant I didn't trust the process. So obviously I was still showing up online and running my business, yes, but I wasn't desperately messaging everyone saying, please be my client. Like, I've got 4 weeks to figure this out.
Yeah.
I showed up in my business as if it was already done, as if the clients were already in my world. What I did do a lot of in those 4 weeks was this subconscious work that I do. So mentally rehearsing every single morning, where I was in a visualization and I was mentally rehearsing myself either on Zoom with these clients or just waking up and being full-time in my business and really feeling how that would feel. A lot of future scripting in my journal. So today I have and explain what I was going to do in my dream business day. Sleep meditation every single night. So I have a sleep meditation that I can share with your people. Yeah, and that's one of the most powerful practices anyone can do because you're capturing the way that your brain is just before you go to sleep, called a theta brainwave frequency. And that subconscious program we were talking about, you have the opportunity to overwrite that during that part of your day. Every day you get the opportunity to rewrite that program. So sleep meditation every single night, and they were practices that are non-negotiable. If I was having moments in my day of doubt, I would immediately get in my journal and write, okay, what am I thinking about that's creating this doubt? What's the new narrative that I need to lock in and believe? And this was just something I was doing every single day. I'm big on getting a sign from the universe, and I hadn't brought my Mercedes yet, so my sign was a Mercedes. So I was like, universe, like, give me a Mercedes. Like, if I was feeling the doubt, like, show me I can do this. The amount of Mercedes that were on the road, like, the universe had my back. It was all there. And so again, my only job was just to trust that and continue to show up excited by what was going to happen that day. And yeah, DMs would come out of nowhere. People who had previously said no come in and said, I want to work with you. Like, it was kind of freaky.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't deny that there's magic there, right? You can't deny that. Like, I teach a lot about manifestation and energetics because very much the same. It's when I stopped hustling in my business. It's actually when I surrendered, when I let go to the universe and I actually went, you know what? I'm ready for support. I'm ready for help. I'll do the work on myself. I'll do the work on my mindset.
Yeah.
And then things just pop out of nowhere. So yeah, that's a really, really beautiful message for women out there who are doing all the things, doing all the doing. And it's like, actually just maybe let go a little bit and trust the process.
Yeah. Because the first question I ask is, whatever you're doing right now, would you still be doing that if you were where you wanted to be in your business? Most of the time, it's a no. Like, I wouldn't be doing cold reach outs, for example. I wouldn't be posting this much on social media. I wouldn't be working this hard. It's like, I know this is going to sound silly, and you just got to trust me when I say this. You need to stop doing those things. It's going to go against that programming, of course, that says in order to make success, you have to work hard, because I'm actually telling you to pull back. But you need to then insert the tasks that you would be doing, that successful version of you would be doing. Like, how is she spending her day? They're the tasks that you need to be doing. And as you said, like, surrendering, and that is acting as if it's already here. And that's what the missing piece to a lot of people's puzzles are. They're not showing up as if it's already here. They're still waiting for it.
Yeah, I love that. Powerful. That's absolutely powerful. So I feel like I want to know more about your story. So you were going to get married. I followed you, had your beautiful hens weekend, and your husband, well, not your husband yet, your fiance's on his bucks this weekend. So what are you guys planning? Are there when's your wedding? When's your wedding?
Wedding is the 7th of February. It's in Byron.
Birthday.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh, that's cool. Very special. Yeah, 7th of February down in Byron at Tides Byron Estate, it's called. And we are going for a very classic, timeless, elegant wedding.
Beautiful.
My bridesmaids are in white. I'm in white, obviously. So yeah, that's the vibe. Yeah, well, Tammy Hembrow had a pink dress.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she looked like a Barbie.
I had like a peachy dress.
Oh,
and my bridesmaids were in white.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's brave. I love that. So yeah, timeless, elegant is the vibe. It, is in only 2 months. I'm feeling pretty organized. Yeah. As you said, had my hens a couple of weekends ago, and that was a dream hens. I have my mum and sister to thank for that. They are so good with events. I feel like it's been a year all about me because I turned 30 in May, and they threw a beautiful long lunch for me as well. And then the hens, and then obviously the wedding coming up. So it's been a cool year. But yeah, getting married in February, and then next year's just going to be a huge year of travel. The last 2 years I feel like has been all about this wedding. I'm kind of extra in that regard. Like, we had an engagement party. I had a bougie lunch to ask my bridesmaids to be my bridesmaids. I had the hens, now the wedding. So 2 years has really gone to this wedding. So I'm excited to just enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
I feel like the business is also at a point where I feel like I can just take a bit of a breather and know it's not going to fall behind. So we're going to Europe in July. A mastermind that I've actually just signed up to has an in-person immersion, which is over in the States. So getting over there towards the end of the year. So my goal for 2025 is to live life more. Just like do the things more. Because the last 2 years has been a lot of work, a lot of planning for this wedding. So I just want to just enjoy life.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
And travel, I feel like I'm on the same bandwagon there. 2025 is going to be a lot about travel, and I'm
Yeah.
really excited for it. And I did a bit of traveling this year, but yeah, and I've been speaking with a few people, and yeah, there's a real buzz around 2025. There's a real energy of like, actually just live life, really enjoy life, which I'm excited for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Very exciting. Where are you going next year?
So to the States, are we going to the States, which we need to talk about after?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where else yet. I would like to go to Africa, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list as well.
Yeah. I've been invited to a couple of places like Egypt and
Nice.
Zimbabwe. So we'll
Wow.
see.
I love that because I feel like if we travel, it's either to the States or Europe. It's nice to get out of that little bubble. Africa looks incredible. That's definitely on my list as well.
Yeah. Just a different culture, I think. Culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
exciting.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Before we do wrap up, actually, do you have 3 tips for entrepreneurs coming through that are feeling maybe stuck, feeling a little bit lost, they're needing that inspiration to keep going, to move forward? Do you have 3 tips that you would give
Yeah.
women or men?
Yeah. My first tip is like learn more about manifestation. I feel like it can have this stigma and it's like a little bit woo woo. And if you're in that masculine energy and you are that kind of woman and you do view the manifestation world as a little bit made up, then I would encourage you to listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza because he really talks about manifestation from more of that scientific point of view. Or my podcast, I talk about it on there as well. Really just understand that because everything that I've shared today in terms of like just trusting that you can do this and acting as if it's already here and really knowing the energetics of your business is something that you won't know until you do study that a little bit. So definitely do that because it will give you this faith that we don't often hear in business. And it is just like sometimes logic needs to go out the window and whatever the numbers are saying right now, it doesn't matter. You've got to still trust and go after your goals and dreams. So learn more about manifestation if you need to. Do a lot of this subconscious reprogramming work. So mental rehearsal meditation in the morning, sleep meditation at night. If you can bring those practices into your life and begin to reprogram that mind, the reason you're feeling stuck will start to shift because there's a reason you're feeling stuck. There's a reason you're unmotivated. There's a reason something's not working. And I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you are also a very driven, determined person who is doing the action likely. So instead of just assuming there's something wrong with you, ask the question of like, oh, okay, I wonder why my clients aren't dropping in. I wonder why I'm not making money. I wonder why I'm at this financial ceiling. And don't always assume it's because you need to do more. Like we've mentioned, it's very likely you're doing enough. And if anything, you need to pull it back. So instead of looking at the activity and the strategy, take a look at, okay, what did my parents do for work and am I trying to do something different? What are my true subconscious beliefs when it comes to money? Like, and again, if you think money's limited, if it's hard to come by, that's what's playing out. So that's why these subconscious reprogramming practices are really, really powerful. And 3, I think stay plugged into podcasts and things like this. Continue to normalize the levels that you're moving towards because unless you are listening to conversations like this where everyday women are doing what you want to do, it can kind of feel like it's a little bit too good to be true.
Yeah.
And, you know, you set these conscious goals, but again, subconsciously you're like, you know, that would be nice, but it doesn't fully feel real for me. So the more you can get in your events and rooms like that and these podcasts and just surround yourself with women who are living the life that you have put on your vision board, it's their everyday life, it pulls it down from that pedestal. And you're like, wait a second, this is normal. Like if they can do it, so can I. So yeah, get in rooms with women doing what you want to do is such a powerful thing. Yeah.
Amazing. I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest shifts in my business have been when I've gotten to events and I've met people who have literally changed my life because you see either you hear their story or you see them doing incredible things and they're a normal person.
Yeah.
They're just like you.
Yeah.
You know, we're all the same. I know we've said that already. It's just whether you choose to do the work on yourself, not the work on your business, the work on yourself to reach those goals.
And that's why conversations like this, just one more thing is like, we've all had those hurdles that you're probably having. You know, we've all had to overcome the exact same challenges. And that's why I love having these raw conversations because when we look on Instagram, it's easy to see the success that people have and feel like maybe they didn't face the same resistance as you are or they didn't have days where they were unmotivated or days they wanted to throw in the towel. But then you hear a conversation like this and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, we all went through it, but there's a way out. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday who was like, oh, but, you know, Priscilla, I perceived you as a certain way until I met you and I heard your story. And I think that happens so much in the online world now. Like, people probably look at you and I and see all the things we're creating and doing, but it hasn't come without some form of resilience. It hasn't come with going through these challenges and having these hurdles, and we've all been there.
Yeah, just don't give up on your dreams and goals. Like,
That's
they're
it. Just
on
keep
your heart
going.
for a reason. Yeah, like, keep going. I promise it will come to fruition one day.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've absolutely loved getting to know you on this podcast.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for, hosting conversations like this and being a contributor to this ripple effect. I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. And you too. I can't wait to be on your podcast.
Yes, 100%. We're doing that.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into this inspirational story. Lucky for you, the inspo doesn't stop here. We have an Inspired Founders Facebook community, a space created just for you to learn, listen, and ask questions from our inspired founders themselves. This unique community is designed to uplift and motivate you to take actions on your own stories and dreams. You'll find the link within our show notes. We can't wait to see you in there.
This is a Guide Your Light Network production, creating podcasts with purpose.